one of these drums is worth over $1,000. Is it this one? Maybe it's this one. Or it could be this one.
Ooh.
Can you guys tell the difference?
Ooh.
We're going to find out.
Can you tell the difference today? This is an interactive episode of the Drum Department. We're going to put a bunch of different snare drums to the test. Inexpensive to real expensive. Can we hear the difference? Join us right now because the Drum Department starts right now!
Oh, it wouldn't be a Drum Department without that Kyle Radomski energy. Let's go. Let's go. All right.
Before we get quite into this, let's have a little bit of a cordial chat. We have no Jared, but we do have Dub. Dylan Waitman is here today.
I'm back.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
You were quarantined for a period of time, or you were exiled, I believe.
Yeah, for uttering anti-guitarist rhetoric on the show.
Can't have it. We didn't book him for a while. We had to book him back because Jared's not here. And there's small shoes to fill, so I'm sure you'll do all right.
Now, you're only seeing half the set today.
Yeah.
We can tease over to the other half of the set very carefully if we're able to.
You can't show any of the snares.
Can't show any of the snare drums, but
That was so fast.
It was so fast.
Jack-
those
Jack
guys,
totally
they're
did
gonna
that for
pause
real.
it. They're going
He
to
did-
pause it. Rewind.
Tyson is joining us today, but there's actually this really cool. I don't know if Jesus can get this, but we actually have this really cool divider. It's kind of like the dating game happening right
is.
here. Yeah, there it is. Well done, Jesus. That's perfect. So we cannot see what's on the other side. It's like he's like the great and powerful Oz today. So what we're doing today, everybody, is we're gonna find out about inexpensive snare drums and more expensive snare drums. Can you tell the difference? What are the differences, and why does it matter? Drums in general, over the past, I'd say 20 years, are getting much better in the less expensive range. And a lot of people assume the more money they spend, the better the drum.
Yeah.
And I will say from personal experience, not always the case.
And you've spent some money on a drum.
I sure have.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I mean, we've had probably now it's probably close to 400 drummers come and visit Drumeo, and each one of them play a different kit. And I'm blown away with how good some of these drums that I normally wouldn't buy.
Right.
You know, the performance line or the eco line of drums, they'll get like some killer player out there. You just can't tell.
And the thing too is, the reason we're doing this with snare drums is because I feel like it's the least easiest to hide those sort of differences in sound. Like a kit that's worth say $1,200 these days sounds real good mic'd up.
Yeah.
But snare drums do tend to show maybe a little bit more of their value than I think toms or bass drums do a lot of times. Plus, just so you guys know, if you're watching this live, you get to take part today. Right? If you're listening to this later, or if you're watching it after it's recorded or in the podcast, you can still play along too. But we're doing this in real time. There are literally a million, I checked, there's a million videos of snare drum comparisons.
Right.
But you know what? You're hearing them all doctored, mic'd up, and all these things, and they say that they're probably not totally EQ'd, but they might be. So today, we're not wearing our in-ears.
Nope.
We're going to hear the drums as they are. Now, for you guys out there, we have it set up where we're capturing these as honestly as possible. So I believe he has 3 snare drums set up over there. I know he does, as a matter of fact. I don't know which ones they are, but they're there. And they're all mic'd with the same kind of microphone. They're all with a Shure SM57, if you're one of those people that likes to know that sort of thing, which is the most common snare drum mic. And they're all going through the exact same signal path.
Okay.
So there's no different EQing.
There's no trickery.
No trickery.
Why would we care to trick you guys? They already voted too. Just on the intro, a lot of people said 1.
Okay.
So they're already voting on this, which is great.
And so this whole thing, this is scientific.
This is all science.
This is science, everybody.
Yeah.
This is our version of science. This is drumming science, or drummers science, more importantly. Okay, so Tyson.
Yes, sir.
How you doing over there, buddy?
I'm great over here. I feel a little lonely, but it's okay.
I can't even peek through to say hello.
I tried to make it so you couldn't peek through.
There we
I
go.
figured Dave would be the one
Perfect.
to peek through, right?
Hi.
There he
Can you
is.
show Tyson just from? Oh, there you go. There it is. Hi, buddy. Go back to that shot there. That's our drummer extraordinaire,
Hey.
Tyson.
Yeah, so Tyson's going to be our drummer today because he's a drummer, obviously.
Yeah.
But we're going to shoot him so we can't see what snare drums he's
Don't
playing.
shoot me.
So the audience and us don't know. Now,
Kyle, quickly explain these cards.
so we've got these cards. You'll notice we've very professionally made up these cards, which have not been glued together by me like a 5-year-old. So we're going to keep score of what
Okay.
we hear. So here's how this works today, everybody. Tyson has 3 drums. Actually, he's got 6 drums over there.
I do have 6
He's got
drums.
3 metal and 3 wood. What are we starting with, Tyson?
The metal ones.
Okay, so he's got 3 metal snare drums, our cards. We have metal and wood. And the reason we're going to compare 3 and 3, I'll explain in a bit. But so he's got 3 drums, and we have to decide after he plays, he's going to play the same thing on all 3. We have to decide from a scale of 1 to 5 what we think of the sound of that drum. We're going to pick on a scale of 1 to 5 what we feel the versatility of that drum will be.
Okay.
And then using the old dollar signs, you guys know what dollar sign looks like, right?
I think so.
You can either put $1 sign for the least expensive, $2 signs for the middle of the road drum, and 3 for the most expensive.
Got it.
Now, after we've heard all 3, because clearly we're not comparing them at that point, you made a great suggestion earlier. We should hear them in a groove all together. So it'll be 2 bars, or is it a bar? We'll figure that out.
Okay.
But then we can make our last minute changes if there are any, right? And then we're going to see what we thought. We'll see what you guys thought. And then we're going to find out what it actually was and which drums we actually have.
You haven't seen any of the drums?
Well, I know what they are.
Because you got a slight advantage.
A slight advantage.
Well, and all he's got
Tyson
25 years
also-
of retail experience.
Well, that doesn't matter. We've proven on the show already that doesn't necessarily help.
Dylan beat me on the last challenge, which is why I didn't book you again, by like 4%. So you're on this time, man. I'm going to get...
Now,
I actually think I feel the most disadvantage here. You've heard so many snares over the years with guest artists and stuff. You've sold every snare that's ever existed. I'm used to using like 3 snares for every gig, so
Well-
I'm curious to see. And I generally have cheap taste.
cheap and cheerful.
Yeah.
Preferable
Oh yeah,
choice?
cheerful for sure.
Cheap and cheerful.
Now, before we go into this, Tyson, let's cover a few more of the ground rules here.
Okay.
Because I know I'm going to get a zillion questions on this. Do all of the drums have the same head combinations?
They all have a 300 weight bottom
No, we got
snare side head and an ambassador coated
Oh,
top
perfect.
head.
That's what I was hoping.
Perfect.
Are they tuned similarly?
They're tuned similarly. All of them.
No
All
damp-
6
no
drums
damping.
are tuned similarly.
No dampening.
No dampening, wide open. I was going to say
Excellent.
that.
So, and of course, it doesn't really matter. Let's give full disclosure. If you tune 3 different drums to the exact same tuning, they're still not going to sound the same, everybody.
Totally.
So we're not listening for high and low here. We're listening for what sounds
Dylan's
best.
got a question.
Yes, sir. Over here.
Okay, here we
Okay,
go.
so I was kind of wondering what characteristics could a viewer or even myself, what do you listen for in a cheap drum? Is it an unevenness? Because so we're trusting Tyson has it tuned very evenly, right? He's done his part for overtones.
Yep.
Are we listening for just like an inconsistent
Oh, that's
sound?
a great
or
question. Do you
What-
want to get
what-
into this?
Just a
Yeah.
little bit, because if I was a viewer too, I'd be wondering like what makes a good drums.
Let's
actually
go
sound
through
good?
that very quickly. So, what
Okay.
do you think?
I would mainly be looking for pitch and consistencies. Like if Tyson's done everything he can to iron it out and still kind of
Yep.
wows, that's probably the biggest defect in my opinion.
Okay, Dave.
I would say tone and consistency, sure. But I also want to hear the snare buds. I want to hear
Oh, good point.
how the tone is actually rattling the snare wires and how long and how short that is. Now that's a tightness issue too, but on a good roll, I can usually pinpoint a cheap snare on a good roll. Watch me get them all wrong now, okay? But it's very subjective.
And I'll just give you my 2 cents after selling drums for a long time and having to tune up a little bit of everything over the years. What I find is on an inexpensive snare drum specifically, they usually have one good place they sound good. They don't tune up super high or super low. There's usually one spot that just sounds really good. And the things I'm usually listening for, less expensive snare drums, fit and finish or where things change, right? So
Right.
snare bed, great call on the snare bed. Usually the snare bed isn't crafted quite as nicely. They do tend to sound a little bit drier and more papery, if that makes any sense. But I know Tyson has set the bar straight with what heads are on, because that's the other thing too. Inexpensive drums out of the box come with inexpensive drum heads. Now we've improved that. So you should get a better quality sound out of that drum already. So it probably levels the playing field a little bit for those less expensive drums, which is why I love doing this.
What about just one last thing? Snare wires, same a mount on each of them?
I would imagine they're close,
I
Tyson.
put the factory wires on each drum, so some of them will
All
be
over this.
slightly different.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So, but they're probably all going to be between 16 and 20, I would think.
Yeah,
Oh no,
with the exception of
there is an exception. I'm aware of
the
the
exception of one that you would get. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, let's
There's
do
one
it.
exception.
Cool.
Let's do it.
I'm ready to hear
All
some
right, you guys
snares.
ready?
Yeah.
Okay, everybody out there, here we go. Tyson's going to play for us now. He's going to play a couple of bars, maybe do something dynamic.
Yep.
This is drum number 1. Now remember, you are keeping track and voting on sound, level 1 to 5, what you think of the sound of the drum, versatility of that drum, 1 to 5, and what price point you think it is. Low, medium, or high.
All right.
Here we go.
Can I show them the overhead?
Sure.
Sure.
And we'll leave some room in case we edit.
Yes,
on
we
the last
can.
one.
We
Okay.
will be able to go back and make final choices.
All right, let's do it.
Tyson, if you will, please.
Drum number 1. Ready. Metal snare drum number 2.
This is hard.
It is hard.
This is really hard.
Drum number 3.
Whoo-wee. Well, God, I don't know.
Yeah, this was really
I
hard.
have to say, we're here in the room with the drums. We can hear exactly what they sound like. I can tell you, and I hope it sounds the same out there for you guys. He did a heck of a job making them sound pretty close.
Yeah,
The
I'm glad there was an
characteristics
overhead.
are actually pretty similar.
I'm glad there was an overhead view because Tyson could have been playing the same drum 3 times, trolling us. for all we know. Can you just go through? Let's go through all
We're
of
going to
them.
do that thing. You want me to play
So we're gonna
a
do
groove
what?
on
2
it?
bars of each? Is
So
that-
I'm going to play 1 bar of each. I'll play backbeat 2 and 4.
Got it.
Over 3 bars, so I'll play the first drum in the first bar, the
Okay.
second drum in the second
Same
bar,
order?
and the third drum in the same order. I
Love
just
it.
played them in. Ready?
Yeah.
Here we go.
That was 1 and 2, sorry?
1 and 3 are the problem for me.
I'm going to play it again.
2,
Yeah,
I think,
please.
is
One
okay.
more time. Yeah, I gotta do that.
Okay, so now we're gonna do.
2.
If you guys want, I'm gonna add a little bit of fun to this.
Awesome.
We can put on top of the card here. I didn't make this extra column. So now I'm gonna tell everybody what the 3 drums are, and then you can make your final choices. Okay?
Yeah, because I wouldn't even be familiar necessarily with what's a high-end model. If you said,
I'm
this is
gonna
the
tell you what they
Yamaha
are.
P2090, I don't know if that's expensive or
Yeah.
not.
So the
Okay.
3 drums you just heard are. One of the drums is a Yamaha SD265, which is an inexpensive steel-shelled snare drum. In fact, it's the drum you would expect to get with a Stage Custom. This is an older model. There is a current model of this drum, but it's an everyday snare drum. I bet you we've all played several of them over
Price
the
point?
years. Price point on that drum is an amazing $129.
Whoa.
Oh.
Yep.
Okay, next drum.
Next drum is a classic midline snare drum from Pearl. The Chad Smith signature model.
Hey.
Yes. Knew this drum was around $250, $300. It did fluctuate over its time. It was around a long time. And surprisingly used. Still worth that or more.
I have wanted one
Great
so
drum.
bad as a kid.
Great drum.
No doubt.
And bringing it home with the blingity bling blang is a Danette Tressart mild steel snare drum.
I should know that's my drum.
That's your drum,
Handmade.
Dave.
Damn.
One of
Beautiful
those
drum.
3
It's
is your
yours?
drum, bud.
It's worth roughly $1,400 US.
If you don't get it now, it's
I
just
know.
extra
Yeah,
insult.
I know.
So
If
if
you
you
don't
guys
get
want to
it right,
lock
then
in
Dylan's
which
taking your
you
drum
think
home.
is which, and everybody out there, let's see what the chat thinks.
Okay, and one last time, Tyson, just for everyone's sake.
The same groove?
Same groove.
Here
Same
it
groove.
comes.
Yeah.
And
you-
if Dave doesn't guess his drum, we're giving it away.
no,
Dylan.
you're not.
We're giving it away to Dylan.
You know how long it would take to notice it was missing?
The one thing, yeah, well, the one thing about the middle drum is that it can tell that that's positioned right where Tyson's sweet spot is because he's
A little
hitting
bit,
that-
right?
He's hitting that one like it's yeah. All right, so
There's some good guesses in here, and I'm
know.
looking here. Okay, so Dave, you want to reveal? I can reveal mine. I'll
You
go mine.
reveal yours,
Okay,
yeah.
so I'll show you guys full on. See if we can get that. There you go. All right. So I think the second drum is the dinette.
What?
I think the first drum.
I'm shocked.
Thank you. I think the first. Great reaction, Dylan.
I'm actually that surprised.
What? The first drum is the Chad Smith, and the third drum is the Yamaha. Are we close? Anybody?
I am exactly the same as Kyle. So Kyle, we better be right here.
Okay.
Okay, this
better
could be
right.
embarrassing.
This is it.
for me.
Dylan?
There we go.
My writing's really
That's
bad on
okay.
here, but I thought number 1 was Chad Smith, so I'm with you there. But
Okay.
I thought number 2 was the Yamaha, and the third was the Dinette. It just had this meteor crack to it.
So there's like a $1,300 void between two of those drums, and we can't tell them
Yeah.
apart.
We can't tell apart. Well, here's the thing: is I was struggling with 2 and 3, being because I know mine has a ring if it's not got a little bit of control on the top, and it didn't. But number 2 just sounded like it should be my Dinette.
For me,
That's tough.
I changed my mind on 1 and 3.
Okay.
Because when I initially heard them, I was like, I think that's the Yamaha at first. And then when he played it the second time, I'm like, no, a little more body there. Now I'm thinking it's maybe the Chad Smith. And then I heard it a little bit more in context and thought, I think it's probably the Chad Smith.
This is good because people here in the chat, Drumkit says 3 is really good. Joel says I'm
love it.
terrible about the snare sound. I just can't imagine why anyone would pay more than $250. Well, in a situation like this, you know, your eyes do a lot of the hearing a lot of times when you're looking at snares, right? But if you strip
Absolutely.
it away, it's only your ears, and it's a tough one. Should we reveal?
I think we should. Tyson,
Are you ready for it?
can you please? I'm going to
excited
give
for
them to
this.
you. Can we do
I'm
1, 2, 3?
very
Does that work
excited
for you?
this. Yes.
You know, he's excited because we're
All
all
right.
wrong.
What's drum number 1?
Number 1, you all were correct.
Yes.
Is the Chad Smith drum.
perfect? Perfect.
Number 2, our winner is Mr. Dylan because it's.
Are you
Yamaha.
serious?
Oh,
And number 3 is the Dinette for start.
yeah.
I have good ears.
I cannot believe
You guys
that.
literally mixed up the most expensive and least expensive.
They did, and you
Oh, I
nailed it.
love it. I love it.
It's
love
funny
that.
because I was on the fence with 2 and 3, but yeah, that's crazy.
Tyson, can you put the Dinette in a bag for me and I'll take it home with me?
It's now for sale, $1,400 US.
Steve Gardner has a fantastic question on YouTube.
Don't tell Ron that I couldn't hear.
Steve Gardner. Ron can't tell him part either. Steve Gardner. Steve Gardner says, Tyson.
Yes.
He says, can you feel the difference between the 3 drums? Is there a feel difference?
There
That's
is actually.
important.
The cheap drum in the middle, the Yamaha drum, it sounds great, but it feels lesser.
Okay.
To get them about the same tension or the same pitch wise, and I'm not bang on, but I'm pretty close with the pitch of them. The tension feels lesser on that drum, and it just feels a little gushy. Like
spongy?
How about
spongy is a good word. Yeah.
take off the snare wires and just do the same thing 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
Harder ping in the Dinette. That's what I
There
heard.
is
I
a
played
harder ping in the
and it just
Dinette. I heard
cuts.
that too.
And my thought process was I heard 1 and I was like, okay, it doesn't sound that great to me. And I heard 2 and I was like, whoa, that sounds even worse.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Well,
go ahead.
I was also the last thing I was gonna say is like when Tyson was playing that middle drum, he was hitting the. I don't know if he was hitting a rim shot in there. It sounded really good.
I tried to-
$129 snare or not, it sounded great. You know.
Okay,
right.
important question.
What's the important
Based
question?
on that, if you didn't know what drum you were playing, would you been okay with any of those drums?
Like if I just did a gig and
Yep.
I didn't even look at the snare, I would have gotten frustrated with the Yamaha, and I had one of those. If it was just wow,
Interesting.
pinging all over the
Okay.
place, I would have gotten annoyed.
Yeah. I would've-
Remember we're playing these wide open
Yep.
on a gig. we would likely dampen that a little.
My
You know, they all sound quite different. If I just put my 2 fingers on the Chad Smith, it cleans it right up. And then the Yamaha, you can hear that that's a cheaper drum.
Yeah.
With some dampening in it. And the Dinette, fat.
If
and
I was at a
cutty.
gig and that was a house kit and I was on the Yamaha, I would have tightened it so tight so it had like almost a timbali sound, and I would have dampened the shit out of it.
Generally,
Heck
I
out
do
of it.
tune snare drums up quite a bit higher, but I wanted
Yeah.
these all
I like
kind of
the
the
ugly.
same mid-rangey.
I will admit it. I like the ugly of the Yamaha.
Joel in the
Yeah.
chat has probably the best comment. He says the feel probably matters more to the drummer than it does to the audience.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're all drummers here. We're all talking to drummers, so I think we're allowed to have this conversation. But man, yeah, I don't think the audience is really going to notice. I mean, if we were struggling to figure it out, imagine you're on a gig, 10,000 people at the show, and you're like, oh my god, I only got this Yamaha drum. No one cares.
I feel like a big gig, a sound guy would say, "Hey, can you do something about that snare?"
Yeah,
if they
that's
had
true.
to try and dial it in on their end. But yeah.
Even these days, though, hey, Jack, can I get your... Hey, Tyson, you want to switch over drums? I'm going to ask Jack a question. So, Jack, you're the one that set up the sound for this today.
Correct.
Did you feel that any of the drums had something that you're like, I really like what that sounds like, or I really hate what that sounds like?
Nothing specific, no. I have only a bit of EQ to take out low end that doesn't really exist in the snare, and then I have a dynamic EQ for any low frequencies that might pump up, but honestly, between the snares, there was nothing specific, but when you played the Dinette, it's like, it felt more like a snare, whereas when you played the Yamaha, it sounded like I need to work on that, and then the Chad snare was like, that, I could deal with that and fix it later. So that was my blind look. It was like, cheap, I need to fix it now. Mid-range, doesn't need to happen now, and then expensive, that's good out of the box. In my
See,
opinion.
that's exactly what you'd want to get out of that. In that the more expensive drum has the more fine-tuned, the more refined sound, the more options built into the drum. The less expensive drum, yeah, might need a little more work. The middle end drum, yeah, exactly like you said, acceptable. I could add a little more to it later, but you know, I'm utterly destroyed that I could not tell apart the Yamaha and the Net.
Hey man, me and you both.
Here's
I'm
a
sure
question.
Who's ever going to listen to anything we ever have to say now?
I'm sure Ron's gonna come and have a chat with us.
Here's a question, Tyson. Was
Whatever.
the Dinette way heavier, like physically heavier?
Physically heavier, yes.
Yeah.
Much heavier.
I feel like I could hear that in them because I know his drums weigh a ton, and that's just that like solid goosh.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
cheap ones kind of sound airy or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. All right,
All right, so
wood snare.
we're
time.
going to do wood snare drums. And why are we doing wood snare drums? The reason is we want to find out if this difference changes between inexpensive, good quality, and high-end metal. Same thing with wood. Is there a different disparity here? Disparity? Disparity, that's the word.
Disparity.
Disparity.
All right.
Yeah, so we're going to do the same thing with wood drums. We have 3 very different wood drums as far as price point goes. And we have to see if we can tell them apart.
Yeah.
And then
right.
we'll get into what they are. So let's do the same thing. So if you wouldn't mind, sir, at your leisure, drum number 1, please.
Here's drum number 1.
Wow, that sounded. Oh, I should keep my thoughts to
You
myself.
should, Dave.
As Dave says, that sounded.
Right now, Dave.
That sounded.
That was a sound.
Tyson calling you out.
It's
Here's
your.
drum number 2.
Okay.
And drum number 3.
Okay. To my ears, off the hop, I feel like, and I'm gonna get lambasted here. So, just sharing my opinion today, everybody. I feel like I can hear a major difference in the less expensive drum. Gosh, I hope I'm right.
Me too. I hope I'm right as well. Also, the third drum has a Mapex head on it, so it's most likely a Mapex drum.
Wait, huh?
Well, they did the
Not
overhead count.
necessarily.
Oh, you're cheating.
I mean, it's not cheating. Everyone saw it. I was just smart enough to put the pieces of the puzzle together, Kyle. But
I saw that too, but Mapex makes some nice drums.
That's the thing is they make nice drums. They make media. So I don't know.
Okay.
Tyson also had a Gretsch head on the Chad snare.
I had a Gretsch head on the Chad snare.
Sleight of hand.
Sleight of hand. Oh dear. Okay, let's hear them all back to
So
back.
now we're gonna
here.
go backbeats.
Backbeats. Here comes drum number 1, and then drum number 2, and then drum number 3.
One bar on
hits
each, right? Yeah, okay.
1 bar each. Here goes.
Jeez, man.
Hard.
Why did I say yes to doing this? I'm gonna like this is brutally hard.
One more time.
Yeah.
one more
Really.
Changing it up. I like the first two.
I can't tell two of them.
I hated the first one when he did it just on the snare, but when he brought it in the beat, it.
Okay, I'm gonna do this. I know I'm wrong. Going with my gut though, and I know it's wrong. Okay. Do you want to know what those drums are?
Yes, please.
Okay, so those 3 drums, the inexpensive drum, or cheap and cheerful, if you will, is a Mapex maple poplar snare drum. Sells for $149 US. The midline drum is a wonderful Drum Workshop Design Series drum, which treats for about $370 US. And the King Kamehameha Cadillac drum is a Gretsch USA custom, streeting for just under $800. Get your votes in, everybody.
Are wood drums typically cheaper than metal, or is that just like 800 being the top end of this
It's
one?
just what we happen to choose. If we had chosen the boutique wood drum, it
Yeah.
would have been around the same price.
I remember looking at like a timeless timber snare.
Sure.
It was like $1,500.
Might be timeless, but it's not priceless. Let me tell you that. It's
not
pretty darn good at
priceless,
setting a
no.
price on it.
I hope I'm right. I feel like I have the cheap one at least.
Well, the cheap one was given to us. Like that's a freebie.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Maybe. That would be a great
I
troll.
love your confidence, Dave.
That would be a
but,
great troll at Tyson.
I
if
just
you're-
feel like I got burned up bad in the last one.
I know,
so.
I did too. I'm changing mine.
So I'm going to go first.
Okay.
Okay. So I've got, in order, we'll go 1, 2, 3. Drum Workshop is the first one. Second drum is the Gretsch. And the third drum is the Mapex.
I have the exact same thing.
I do too.
Really? Look at
We all
us.
had the exact same thing.
That doesn't mean we're right.
Doesn't mean we're right.
All right, Tyson.
Well, you all got the Mapex one
Oh, I
right,
knew it. We're friggin' all wrong.
but you all didn't get the other ones right. The Gretsch drum is the first drum.
All right, I don't even know what I'm doing anymore.
I did change mine.
I have to admit,
Yeah.
the reason I switched
Yeah, I changed
is
mine.
Yeah.
the DWs do have that like mid quality, like all their drums do. They kind of have a punch to
But
them,
this
and
is
that's what I
not
like.
this is not a bona fide D-dub snare drum in that sense.
It's the performance.
Design.
Or design.
Design.
Still,
Right, but-
now to be fair, still using the design principles, so you're not wrong. But it doesn't have the same. It's not the same timbre quality that they're using in their higher end.
But like Gretsch typically is one of like a Yamaha too. They have a great
Mm-hmm.
open sound, and I usually like that punchy kind of sound.
Mm-hmm.
And the DW had that. Like it's very noticeable. Do 1 and 2 again, Tyson.
Here's, just turn the wires off. Here's number 1.
okay, same question we asked
They all sound great.
on the last drums. Feel wise, Tyson, what do you say?
1 and 2 feel really similar, but 3, like the cheaper Yamaha drum, feels a little spongy.
Okay.
They're all USA ambassador coated, top quality Remo heads.
Well, there you go. Like those 3 drums, I actually thought that the wood ones was harder than the metal ones. Even though I butchered both of them, I'm really struggling here because I thought it would be easier to hear.
The less
Honestly.
expensive wood drum was obvious to all 3 of us, though.
That's
Yep.
true. We all got that one right away. Yeah.
It had that papery, dry sound. And I was gonna say, in case you want to get right down to brass tacks on this, yes, all 3 drums are different layups. Absolutely, they're slightly different sizes. Yes, the hoops are different. But you'd think still, even after all of that, there should be a bit more of an identifier in that price range. Not quite though.
How did you guys do on the internet land? Was it as hard for you listening through it through speakers? Like, I'm going to rewatch this once it's done and it's posted because I want to hear if it would have been easier. Because man, I don't know, it was tough.
That's true. A whole other like experience when you're going through microphones, through streams. Like that would be a lot tougher.
To me, all of them were jarringly different, but that I'm used to hearing things differently. But yeah, it was interesting. It was small subtleties like, oh, that seems to have more of a stick. That seems to be more high pitch. Like that Mapex one, it's like it's the same tuning, but it had more high end. It was strange. It was very strange.
Thinner sounding.
Drew Shreve in the chat says the biggest difference that I noticed between expensive metal snares and my cheaper ones is the dynamic range, which I tend to agree with you on that. And I think if we were all playing these drums, it would be easier for us to tell because we'd be able to go through the zones, we'd be able to press roll and turn the snare bars off and on. If there's a way like to play it, I think it'd be easier. That doesn't change how crazy these price ranges are compared to the sound though. Like if you're trying to decide should I go and pull the trigger on that $1,300 snare.
Okay. So that's exactly, and this is, I will say this, as embarrassing as this stupid idea was.
I'm keeping my first one.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Yeah.
We drew the conclusion I was hoping to,
Okay.
which is when you get to midline and upper line snare drums, harder to tell them apart. Because the quality of the build in that middle drum is quite good. And so all of those characteristics and hopes and dreams that you're looking for tend to be in those drums now. And so in both cases, they were easily fooled between the most expensive version and the middle drum. That's a great statement because in the wood drums, in the case of the wood drums, it's twice the price. In the metal drums, it's like 5 times, 6 times the price. So what does that mean? Don't shop with your wallet, shop with your ears, number one.
Yeah.
Number two, you don't need to spend, I will say this right now, and I mean this from the bottom of my cold black little heart, is $500 and less, you can buy a bazillion great snare drums.
Yeah.
So for the price of one boutique drum that is hand-hewn out of spotted owl fur, you can get yourself 3 awesome drums, 1 wood, 1 metal, 1 acrylic, or whatever you want.
Right.
And it's a great place to be now. This was never the case before. If we went back 15 years ago, there are some notoriously bad sounding inexpensive snare drums. I almost asked Tyson to pull an 80s Pearl Export snare drum. There is a nasty honk in those
They
drums
were
that
pretty
is
bad.
terrible sounding. So now those Yamaha steel shell snare drums that sounds fine, doesn't feel maybe as good as a more expensive drum, but for $129,
Right?
it's not so bad.
It's not that bad.
One note. So I'm wondering if the jump between like the midline snares and the high end ones. So I remember when I was young, before I'd been in a recording studio before, and you think you know what a great snare sound is. Then you go work with a great audio engineer. Like I met Sheldon Zaharko, who does like these award-winning drum sounds. And humbling to be like, no, that your snare sounds terrible. And then they want that really open, like that Gretsch metal snare. That's the sound that they were like, we want this sound because we know what we want to do in audio editing and everything later. So it was a real learning curve when you realize at some point maybe they're making snare drums for those audio engineers to record a really great snare sound and not so much for drummers to play in their basement and get the sound that they want.
Yeah.
It's a weird thing because I had to basically relearn what I thought a good snare sound was based on that. But I was also going to ask you guys and the audience, what do you think is more important? Have one high-end, super versatile snare or 3 different makes? Like a metal, acrylic, wood that you can pull out for different causes.
I'll start. I think it's better to have 3
Whoa, okay.
because you don't just get a different shell type, you get a shell dimension. I like to have like a 5.5 inch. I like to have like a 7 to 8 inch depth snare. So it's like just having the different depths as well. That's where it's really tough. Like a versatile snare is great, but sometimes you want something that you just can't get out of it. I had this one 8 inch depth Yamaha. It was an oak snare and it was beautiful. And I can get some nice rich tones out of it, but I wouldn't use it for certain gigs, right? So that's my preference. If I was going to spend $1,500 to $2,000, I get 3 decent different snares than one really nice. What about you, Kyle?
My answer has changed a lot since I started playing the drums. Definitely. When I started coming up, I bought really nice gear. I bought a Dinette snare drum in early 2000s.
Whoa, OG.
Yeah. And I would go to these recording studios, and this is back when we were still recording on tape mostly. So you're really trying to capture that drum sound right off the hop. And I used to think, I have to have these ridiculously nice snare drums. So I'd show up with it. Now, part of that comes with my playing and my tuning abilities, of course. So if those aren't up to par, the drum's probably not going to make much of a difference, kids.
Yeah.
So I'd go to these studios, and a lot of times I'd go somewhere maybe where they had a house drum set. And I would be sometimes shocked and appalled, going, "This is your house drum kit? You want me to play on this? This beat up old hunk of junk with these kind of shot drum heads?" I thought we had to come in here with like brand new drums and always fresh heads. That was the thing back in the day. You had to have fresh heads, right? And they go, and try this snare drum. I go, this thing's barely held together. It's 9 pieces of gaff tape on it, and the insides are falling out. And I'd hit it, and I go, "Wow, sounds really good in here." Right? And I was like, okay, hold on. maybe I've done this wrong, and I've spent so much of my life, and I made a mistake. I learned so much from that because I've tracked more records than I can count on what would be considered average or inexpensive drums. They sound great because they fit the room, or they fit the vibe and the mojo, or the producer, the engineer likes the sound of that drum.
Exactly.
Right? Like Sheldon's a great example. We both work with Sheldon. Sheldon will make anything sound amazing. So he's looking for a characteristic, but he doesn't care what it comes from.
But Sheldon
doesn't have a dollar amount attached to it.
Yeah, and Sheldon also hears the song and knows what to fit in the song too. So he's not, and that good engineers do that. They're not like, let's just get the best sounding snare. No, let's get the snare.
But to answer that question, I would completely echo you. If I had $1,500 to spend and said, go buy the best things you can for a recording studio, I'm coming out of there with 3 drums: an aluminum drum, probably a steel or a brass drum, and a wood drum.
Yeah.
I'll be the outlier. I would get one nice one, just as that's what has worked for me already. I have the one Dinette snare, a super thin titanium metal snare.
Yeah.
And every session I've brought that to, the sound engineer's usually like, "What snare is that? That sounds good." And I'm always tweaking it a little bit here and there.
Yeah.
But it always seems to work. Once in a while, they'll say, "Try a different snare on this song." And then same thing for live stuff. Usually you end up getting a compliment from whoever the sound engineer is, and that's one really good snare drum. And I've just never gotten turned down with it.
There was a cool piece of gear. Now, this is a little off topic, but at NAMM one year we saw it. We got to go in this private room because they were just announcing it. And it was really cool. It was a rim inside of a rim. It was a device that you put in, you had to mount it to your drum, but it allowed you to pull up this thing, which would bring a ring in between the drum. I'm not explaining it well, but it would turn your 14-inch into like a 10-inch or a 12-inch. And there was the possibility, so the whole point was you buy one really, really, really good snare, and you put this device on it, and then just by a click of a button, it raises up the rim, basically. Zick it?
Yeah.
I remember it. I'm like, man, it was really cool. I played it.
I was trying to look it up, Kyle. Like, I know what it's called.
Yeah.
We have one here somewhere.
Yeah, we do.
Do we actually?
Yeah.
I think it's on the shelf.
Yeah, we
It
have
might be.
2.
Oh my
It
goodness.
really works.
It does really work. So if you have
expensive.
if you have a really nice drum that's like, this is my drum, I want it, I just want a 14 or a 12-inch version of this or 10-inch, you should look into that, man. Apparently we have one here, so you should try it.
Kyle did a Drumeo Weekly on it once.
I did.
Actually, I think it's currently sitting on Mr. Falk's back shelf
he
on
likes
his
it.
piano because
He
he
really
loves
likes
it.
it.
Oh,
Yeah.
that bugger. Yeah, that makes sense.
The only thing I'm going to add, like what you were saying about tracking with a favorite drum, the day I realized that it meant less than I thought it did was when I got a record back that I played on. I couldn't remember which drum I used in which song afterwards. I was like, I think that's the Dinette of the Paul Lime. I knew it made a big difference when I tracked it, but I was like, in the context of the mix, you can't, like, the drum doesn't have so much of a personality that you're like, because in the mix, you're like, when you're tracking just drums, you can hear that personality. But when you get the album back with the vocal on top, you may or may not have it anymore.
Yeah, that's true.
But you got to start somewhere. And the thing is, it's what captures that excitement in the moment. for you and or the producer or the artist to go, yes, that's the sound I want.
Totally.
Here's a question. It seems like one famous drummer who, so a lot of famous session drummers have a million snare drums. That's their thing, right?
Sure.
Like I remember Kenny Aronoff told me he had 50, and I'm sure Jeff Porcaro had a million. Steve Gadd's always the exception. Doesn't he just use what
drum.
he uses? Like he just shows up and he has his Yamaha snare.
He used a beat up old Ludwig Superphonic forever till Yamaha's like, could you please stop using that? We'll make you a drum. So then they started
basically
making his
built him a
drums.
Superphonic,
and
right?
that's kind of it. Now he has a wood version that he's used forever. You're right.
They just want his sound. They don't care. You know, he doesn't seem the type of guy where they'd be like, try a different snare, Steve. It's like, okay, he's drumming. It's good.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Todd Zuckerman has 135, 140 drums in his space, and we get to see him quite often play with different drums. But he loves the way that the drums are tuned up to a certain thing that he likes, and it can be very difficult to tell them apart. There's little characteristic differences that maybe he's feeling more than we're hearing. And I'm always amused by that. I'm like, man, they all sound great, Todd.
I know.
There's it's hard to tell.
Aaron Egger, our local guy,
Sure.
he has a $10,000 drum.
What?
Yeah, he's got one of those Sonar brass.
He does.
But it's not like they were that much when they came out. It's like the rarity factor. There's only like 200 of them made, right? But like at what point, I mean, same with that timeless timber I was talking about earlier. Like I really wanted this timeless timber drum because of the story behind the wood. But I bet you I wouldn't be able to tell the difference of the sound of it. You know, and I want to get Aaron to bring one of those drums to our studio one time and say like, it might not be worth 10,000, but is it significantly worth more than most other drums? You know, that's the question. We got to do more of these Can You Hear the Difference episodes. I like
I
them.
think the answer is we cannot. They may be able to. We aren't able to.
No, it's pretty clear. And we listen to drums all the time, arguably more than most drummers out
I
there.
don't think so. Maybe we're too close to it.
Yeah, maybe that's it. Maybe it's like they all sound the same, guys.
Dylan's sitting there being
Just
like,
a snare drum.
maybe you guys.
I got round one.
See?
Yeah, you did. That's right. Damn it, you beat me
Just
again.
remember, everybody, the choice is yours.
It'll be another 3 months before you're on an episode, though. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
exactly.
All right, we're running long on our blabbity blab.
Yeah, let's move on.
Let's move on. I cannot wait to show this to you guys. Everybody, let's check out this week's Groove of the Week.
Ooh.
It's coming.
It's getting tight, man. These are getting tight.
That's pretty good. It's pretty good.
It's pretty good. So
I'm not even going to give any pre-roll to this. Let's just show it. Maybe a little pre-roll. It's really good. You really enjoy it.
Did it go anywhere?
It's
That's
like
brilliant. That was amazing.
Yeah, it's like a expanded version of a practice pad kit that they're running there. So that is an instructor. I'm not 100% sure where he's from. I'm pretty sure it's South America. I think Brazil. Check out his page at Batieira Vamper Official. I'll put that on the bottom screen afterwards. But Batieira Vamp, you put that and you'll find him. Great educator. You know, we're an online educator, yes. But I mean, we celebrate all education, man. Like those kids are just nailing that, and you can see the teachers having so much fun.
Yeah.
And they're playing. It's a pretty cool little groove they're playing. There's a bunch of clips like that on that Instagram page. So please
I'm gonna go check that out.
Share some love
Yeah.
for Batieira Vamper Official. Super cool stuff that they're doing, and it's all about that passion and fun. The kids, I don't know who's having more fun there.
I mean, it looked really cool.
It looked like something I would love to go to when I was first starting out, or even now I'd love to go to something like that. That looked like a lot of fun. Yeah.
So we shine the light outside Drumeo. It's time to shine the light inside Drumeo. It's time for our Student of the Week. Jack, that is seamless.
That's the way it should be.
Congratulations to our Student of the Week. It is Clemen this week. Clemen has always been wanting to play the drums like so many of our students, but it wasn't until 55 that he got himself an electronic drum set. He was gripped by drum fever immediately.
Cool.
Call the doctor. I have the drum fever. He kind of got into it. He wasn't sure what to do next, so he found Drumeo at the end of 2021, and then he went in full bore, got himself a nicer kit. He's got a Roland TD17 KVX now. He's working his way through the Drumeo method, and he's also trying to take part in our student collabs, which is awesome. He says, I don't know where my drumming journey is going yet, but I love it, and it has become a part of me. Because you know what? The journey is the thing. All right. Let's see. Do you have this clip, Jack? I'm just noticing I put... Yeah. Let's check out Clemen playing some drums right now.
Dude.
Congratulations, Clement,
Yeah,
on
Clement.
playing some
Seriously.
awesome Motley Crue. Hot take. That's Saints of Los Angeles. I think that might just be Dr. Feelgood slowed down on the drum part.
It's
not that different.
If it's Dr. Feelgood, Married, Walk This Way.
Oh,
That's what that is.
I like that.
Serious
But good
groove
play.
though from
Yeah.
Clement.
Killer
Like, and
playing.
he's only been at it not even 2 years.
I don't know. He says he started playing when he was 55, so I don't know.
Oh,
he
we
doesn't look a
find
day
drumming at the
over
end of 2021.
45, so
Okay.
I don't know as much. Maybe the drumming is like reverse aging him, like Benjamin Button.
100%. That's
totally
what
what it
happens.
That's, that's what drumming
That
does.
makes the most sense.
Drumming is the holy grail.
And you know what? That's a great segue.
Take a
If
drink.
you want to be reverse aged, you should play the drums. How should you do that? Well, you should come and join Drumeo, because this stuff that you're seeing here on YouTube and checking all the cool stuff we have, which is free, which is great, but we have all kinds of even cooler stuff. Reverse aging techniques on the drums. Okay, that's not true.
He started when he was 55, now he's 45.
Exactly.
So-
and how do you take part in that? Well, all you have to do is go over to drumeo.com/trial and get a 7-day free trial.
Or just go to drumeo.com. I think, doesn't that work too, Dylan?
Yeah, it's all
It's all-
trials now.
Or if you've never played the drums before, we just launched today 30-Day Drummer Season
right.
3. What is that, you ask? Well, there's no point in me telling you. Let's have Domino tell you herself. Check this out.
Do you think you could play this? What about this? And this? If you can play this, then you can already play hundreds of your favorite songs on the drums. If you can't, don't worry. I'm going to show you how in just 30 days. 30-Day Drummer teaches you to play the drums by playing with real music every day for 30 days. All you have to do is press play and play along with me.
What, like now?
Yes, you ready?
Not really.
Each day, you'll get a new 10-minute workout that builds your groove and coordination. You'll start by learning basic beats and fills. And by the end of the month, you'll have the skills to play hundreds of your favorite pop and rock songs on the drums. And if music theory scares you, don't worry. There's no theory and no homework. Every Saturday, we'll have a live Q&A where you can ask me your questions. You don't even need a drum set to participate. You can take 30-Day Drummer with just a practice pad and sticks. 30-Day Drummer starts this September and enrollment is open now. Click the link to save your seat, and I'll see you on the first day of class.
Pretty cool.
I mean, how fun does that look?
Well, yeah, exactly. Now, to further our shameless plug for ourselves with that, I mean, we're super excited about 30-Day Drummer. It has helped over 10,000 drummers so far.
17,000.
17,000. See, that's over 10,000. We have a couple of really awesome offers with that right now. Can you just rattle off what they are? I know you know what they are.
I do. I don't want to go like full promo mode
Okay.
in the
Maybe
podcast,
just give them a
but
little bit of a...
I just want to say, again, we've had 17,000 people take it, and it works. Like people, Kyle, you've watched a lot of people. Drummers have a tendency to, you get in your head. You think, oh, I learned this technique or that technique, and how high should I be sitting? And you start to ask all these questions before you actually fall in love with just hammering out
Yep.
your favorite songs. So the whole point of 30-Day Drummer is it gets you playing music instantly. Hopefully you fall in love with that feeling, and then you start to explore techniques and all the great world of rudiments and all that stuff to go to the next level. But if you just want to try drumming, or you know somebody that wants to try it, it totally works. And yeah, we have these bundles so you can get everything you need. You can just buy the course, or you can get everything you saw in the video, the practice pad, sticks, and a pad stand so you have something to put it on. Or you can just join Drumeo and get that and a few extra things for free too. But the bundles are 20% off if you join this week. We want as many people as possible to join this week so we can ship you stuff.
Yeah.
Where do we find that?
Drumeo.com/30-Day Drummer, or just Google's 30-Day Drummer, you'll find it. It's such a good course though, especially if you just kind of like want to start drumming or get back into drumming or just like focus on timing and feel. It totally works.
Well, the craziest thing, the last thing I'll say about it is Jared, myself, Brandon, our team has been making lessons for 20 years now. And we've never seen a pack or a group of lessons like this that have seen more results from the students than anything else we filmed. That includes the method, drumming system, rock drumming system, but all those packs that we've done in the past. This one just seems to work.
Yeah, I think
there's
they-
some secret formula. I don't know what Domino's doing, but the students love it.
The usual completion rate on an online course, like drumming, learning a language, anything, is 10%. This said 30%. That's the whole magic of
Yeah.
it starting September 4th, and you join with everyone, and you start playing together, and you go through the daily lessons. And you only need 10 minutes a day, so that's awesome too. And then every Saturday, you get like a live hangout with your teacher and everyone else taking the class. It's just a cool event.
Cool beans.
Pretty cool. Double bass says, no homework. Cool. I didn't have to show up to class. Well, you kind of have to show up to class. It's the one thing you have to do.
Yeah, but you don't learn. You just play. You don't learn anything.
That's a clip we can get from Dave. No learning, just
You
play.
don't learn. You just play. But it's true. You
All
don't
right,
have
this
to-
concludes our shameless plug portion of this
All
episode.
right.
Thank you.
Now we're going to plug something else completely different. It's time for new gear.
Here.
I'm curious about this.
Great pan over. Jesus, that was amazing.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, smooth.
Not the snare.
So
the snare drum.
we're not just looking at the snare drum. Okay,
Oh,
yeah.
that was it. That was it. We
oh,
were
I
right
almost
there.
saw
that
it.
was
Go back,
oh,
go back, go back.
hiding.
Do it again. This.
All right, so today, we are either too wide or too close. What's going on with the cameras today?
There we go. One more
I
time.
think Jack's playing with us now. So today, the new gear of the day, what's going on over there?
Yeah.
Everything all right over there?
Should we call an ambulance? Because he hasn't said anything. Yeah.
You got the splashes great. Now I'm a little worried.
Switch twice if you're okay.
Switch twice if you're okay. The new gear this week is actually a revisit of some gear that's been around for a while. There's a product out there called the Drum Wallet, which Tyson has on that Gretsch snare drum. Now, there's a couple of these. If you want to throw to the overhead for a sec, awesome. So the Drum Wallet is a nylon pouch with it seems like it's got shot in it or something.
Almost like a
buckshot.
beanbag.
Or a beanbag. That's great. Yeah, and it's Velcroed. It goes between two lugs on the drum. Do you want to take that off to show them what the whole thing looks like?
Sure can.
These are really cool. So you'll see a lot of times drummers literally put their wallet on a snare drum.
There's a top shot right there.
So there we go. And you can see what the whole thing looks like.
Overhead jack?
The overhead shot. There it is.
Love it.
So this is a really cool kind of invention brought to us by the folks at Drum Wallets. And it's really awesome. So Tyson, show us how it works.
Well, we take the little Velcros and we stick them through your tension rods underneath. And it just kind of pulls tension to itself, which is nice.
Super easy to use. and
Super
apply.
easy to put on. Get a second one through there. And it'll hang off the side of your drum. See, look how great that is. But wait, there's more. Wide open. Throw that on top. You can just adjust it where it sits. It actually gives us a great full, some guys literally will take their, old school jazz drummers used to put a wallet, take their wallet out of their pocket and put it on top of the drum to get a crisp, really dry sound. Now it's off the drum, that easy, and back on the drum.
And you'll notice that loop on top is designed, you can actually flick your stick into that loop and fling it.
Brilliant.
Actually,
Just
get
fling
out of the way.
Now,
Just
this
fling it
isn't
out of the way.
anything new. I remember the drum wallet from years ago, but
Totally.
it does look like it's a new mounting
Yeah,
system.
back
it,
on the
which is
market.
nice.
He's back, and we have a new version of it.
There's a
smaller
smaller
version.
version.
Is it the coin purse?
That's well done.
That's
but
even better, Dave.
this one is called the pocket watch. Dude.
Oh, the
Not
pocket watch.
I guess the idea. Well, they're both things you might have to throw on the drum. You put your coin.
Open again. Pocket watch in place. Just, I feel like the pocket watch actually gives us maybe a little more versatility. You can kind of get it closer to the edge and just take the top end off the ring, then push it in a little. Let the ghost notes show up a little more, and yeah.
Yeah, the full wallet's fairly aggressive. It sounds good, but
Yeah.
to have
Right,
only
but
have the one
the
option.
pocket watch feels really good.
Those are super well made. They are U.S. made. They are made of partly recycled materials, and they're both the same price, $39.95. Available at thedrumwallet.com.
Awesome.
What do you think of it, Tyson? As a player, would you have one of those versus gum or any other the plethora of dampeners that are out there?
Not even as a player, as a famous drum tech.
Oh, come on, my boys.
Ooh, yeah.
It's great. It's a good working product. I think there's lots of similar products on the market. I do like the idea that you can put the stick in, or with your finger, you can just toss it off the drum and toss it back in place, and it just kind of sits there.
Tyson is a habitual.
Say again?
You are a habitual muffler.
I'm a
constantly
habitual
muffling.
muffler. My gig at the hotel requires a lot of muffling so I don't blow the ears off people that are trying to eat dinner. So I will multi-dampen drums.
Smart.
Well, there we go.
Yeah, I may try one of these at the hotel.
The drum wallet.
Well,
Not just for money.
let's give some of these away so that our students don't have to
Let's
break
do
their
it.
wallets.
So we're going to give away those drum wallets. We're going to give away. My goodness.
I should be a copywriter, is what I should be. All right.
It's a thought. We're gonna give away. We're gonna give away both of those, the wallet and the pocket watch, to someone inside the Drumeo community chat right about now. I'm gonna freewheel it today, guys. Just gonna do it.
Oh.
Is that okay?
No question.
Get
Sure.
upset.
James.
No,
Is
let's
worried.
do it. How many are we giving away? With just the one set?
Give away the two of them as a pair. It's a
Two of
set.
them as a pair? Okay.
And I might even throw in a T-shirt. I have a T-shirt to go with it.
Ooh.
Nice.
TS Tone, you have won those really cool drum muffling products.
Congratulations, TS
Email
Tone.
me at krad@drumeo.com. We'll get those sent out to you quick like a bunny.
All right.
And you know, it's the end of the episode, everybody. So that means we have one last thing to do. And that is to give away membership, a 1-year membership to someone out there in the YouTube world.
All right,
So
Dylan.
we're gonna invite them into Drumeo for a full year.
Cool.
Dylan,
long-
who's it gonna be?
It could be Liam B, but it can't be anyone else by the name of Liam. There's been a Liam in our chat. That's so no Liams unless it's Liam B. So pick your number.
So he's saying you can pick anybody.
Are you
He's
telling me who to
suggesting
pick?
you pick Liam B, but no other Liams.
No, I look like a jerk if
Those
I
are
don't choose.
odd requirements.
I thought so too.
I don't understand.
I've just been moderating the chat today, and there's just been this one dude named Liam who keeps coming back in, and so he just can't win.
Can't win. Okay, noted.
But Liam B can. He's a good dude.
I'm so confused. What do you want me to do?
You pick to your heart's content, my friend.
This is great. I'm enjoying this.
Paul
Campbell says
you've
give it to Liam.
confused me. I like Stefan Marceau drums.
Stefan Marceau drums. Congratulations.
Congratulations, Stefan Marceau drums.
Yes.
You as well. Email me at krad@drumeo.com at your earliest convenience. I will get you set up with a 1-year's membership to Drumeo. What does that include, you ask? Well, it includes all the lessons we have inside Drumeo. It includes 5,000 drum transcriptions and drumless songs of the original recordings. It's got access to our other platforms. Maybe you like to sing. Maybe you want to learn a guitar. Maybe someone you know wants to learn piano. You can get all that for 1 year. There you go.
All right. And can I give Liam B one as well?
Of course.
Okay, Liam B, you get one too. Email krad@drumeo.com because he was mixed up in all of this shenanigans
Oh, really?
on there.
He got caught in the crossfire?
So I'm
I
giving
didn't
Liam
know
B
that.
one. Yeah,
I
yeah.
wasn't sure if you were telling me to pick him or not.
I know, and as I was saying it, I'm like, this is useless information for someone randomly picking. I was looking at the chat the whole time. So Liam B, there you go. And Stefan Marceau drums says, "OMG, thank you."
So smooth.
There you go. There we are.
That was almost as smooth as our transitions today, everybody.
They're getting really good, Jack.
Yeah. Jack, great
Huge
job,
shout out
Jack.
to you out there.
Thank you for your wisdom.
Because they're getting tight. I love it.
Tyson, I know you're over there. I can't see you, but I love you.
Love you too, bud. Both
Yeah.
of you.
Thanks, buddy.
We're going to say goodbye for now to everybody on YouTube. We'll be back next week. We have a slam bang episode for you next week. Something super cool on a brand new type of electronic drums. That's all I'm going to say. For those of you in the members area, sit tight. We're going to come right back and answer your questions. And we'll see you guys soon. Bye-bye.